Hello and welcome to Chalk and Wire's What's New webinar. This webinar will provide you with an overview of the enhancements made to the main menu, user permissions, survey forms, and field placements. These changes were released to you on October 10th, 2018. My name is Jessica Dawes, and I'm one of the support consultants for Chalk and Wire. If you have any questions after the webinar and would like to contact me, feel free to email cwsupport@campuslabs.com. Before we begin, we just want to let you know that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please type them directly into the questions window of your GoToWebinar control panel. I will refer back to them at the end of the webinar as time permits. If your questions are not answered, or if you have any additional questions after the webinar, please feel free to send them to our support desk by email or phone. To reduce the likelihood of audio or visual issues during the webinar, we would recommend that you turn off all other programs or applications that may be running on your computer. If you do encounter any issues hearing me or viewing my screen, please switch to the telephone option in your GoToWebinar control panel and call into the webinar instead of using your computer's microphone and speakers. Leaving the webinar and joining again may also resolve any issues. If you still can't resolve the issues that you're experiencing, we will be posting the recorded version of this webinar on our support documentation site within 24 hours. In today's webinar, you'll learn more about the updates we have made to the main menu, to user permissions, survey forms, and field placements. I will then provide you with a live demonstration of the features so that you can see how to apply these enhancements and how they may benefit your users or your institution. At the end of the session, we will answer your questions and provide you with the contact information for support desk so that you can reach out to us for individualized support. First, we'll take a look at the updates to the main menu for all user types. In all of our webinars, we've been covering these changes because they are the most significant. So the main menu has been reconfigured to provide easier access to the tools that are used most often, as well as to provide more appropriate and intuitive grouping of similar features. All user types will see the addition of new quick links at the top of their menu, a new reporting menu, and a new help menu. For students, the new quick links include access to their My Coursework, My Results, and My Field Placement screen, as these are features used most often by students. Within the new reporting menu, students will have access to their My Results screen and the Tag Reporting tool if your institution uses this feature. The Help menu allows students to access the user guide, request support from our support team, and review the recently added or enhanced features. For assessors, the new quick links include access to their assessment and field placement screens. Within the new reporting menu, assessors will have access to their student results screen and the tag reporting tool, again, if using that at your school. We've also given assessors access to the results analytics reporting tool, formerly called Results Live. This option is available to assessors in their reporting menu and allows them to generate reports on their own students' assessment results. Just like with students, the Help menu allows assessors to access the user guide, request support from our support team, and review the recently added or enhanced features. For administrators, the new quick links include access to the assessment and field placement screens. Within the new reporting menu, administrators will have access to all of the reporting tools in Chalk and Wire. These include My Results, Student Results, Results Analytics, Iterator Reliability, Tag Reporting, Assessment Time Reports, and System Activity Reports. Just like with students and assessors, the Help menu allows admins to access the user guide, request support from our team, and review the recently added or enhanced features. So before we move on, I just want to check and make sure that we don't have any questions. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and just keep moving along. So first, we're going to take a look at the updates to user permissions and how these enhancements may be beneficial to your institution. Previously, assessors or students that had a reporting override placed on their account could only access the system that we now call Results Analytics, again, formerly Results Live. With this most recent upgrade, now users with reporting override will be able to access the Inter-Rater Reliability tool for their specific departments as well. They will be able to allocate reliability assessments and run formal and informal reliability. Next, we're going to take a look at the updates to surveys and how these enhancements may be beneficial. If you've ever checked your surveys and seen a group of incomplete ones that you just wish that you could reach out to the user without having to send a separate email or something like that, you're now in luck. So instead of having to delete or relaunch a survey or email someone to ask them to go ahead and complete that survey that you'd sent them a week or two ago, now you can go to the specific batch that you're wanting to review and click the Resend Notification to Incompletes button. Then the system will automatically send those users, anyone with an incomplete survey, an email with the Go to Chalk and Wire link again in the email for them to access their survey. This does not create a new version of the survey. It still keeps the exact same survey that you had already launched. The final change that we've made is found in our field placement tool. In field placements, if you're setting up vacant placements that you desire your students to apply to, you now have an option to set an application limit. This limit denotes how many students can apply for this placement at one time. Once the limit has been met, the placement will not be visible to students in searches. If an admin rejects an application that was made, then the vacant placement comes back into the list to be selected from by your students once again. This will be really helpful for if you had lots of students applying for one placement and you only had one or two placements at that location or for that specific placement that you had set up. This way, once the two application or three or however many you set to, once that is met, it will just not be able to be selected any longer. And then only if something is rejected of the applicants, then it will be able to be selected once again. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and go into our live demonstration. The first thing we're going to look at is setting the override for the reporting feature. So whenever you want to set overrides for users, you'll go to the main menu, Users and Groups, and Users. You can then search for your user, click on their row, and select Edit User from the menu. When you scroll down the Edit User screen, you'll see that for every group that they're a part of, you have the ability to select an override. Just make sure that you've already enabled the group-specific overrides. So when you're ready to set reporting, you just click here under the override, select Reporting Override, and then click Set Override. That override has now been set, and we can see it listed here. Then when you save your changes for that user, you could now return out, and as an admin, you can do anything else. Now this user has the reporting override little icon attached to his permission, So when this user logs in, they will be able to go to the main menu, reporting, and they will now see the inter-rater reliability as well as all the other reporting tools that would be available to them. In inter-rater reliability, they will be able to do the allocate reassessments if you want to set up formal reliability, or they can put in any date ranges and then uncheck if they don't want to use formal reliability and click update summary to go ahead and see any informal reliability that's taken place in your system. Okay, now moving on to surveys, we will go to our main menu, to curriculum, and then forms. Then you can go to any of your surveys, click on the survey, click view, and to be able to find this resend notification button, you actually want to go to your batch specifically. So if I were to come to one of our batches, I can see I've got 0 completed out of 1. Well, if I look at my respondents, I can see that Jim Wood, who was an external assessor for us, has yet to complete the form. So on the actual form tab, you'll see the resend notification to incompletes. When I click this button, it's going to confirm that the notification has been resent. And at this time, I'll go ahead and open up my email because this person's email comes right to me, this guest account. And here is that email that just came. Again, it has the information for the user, anything that was in that notification, as well as the Go to Chalk and Wire link for them to be able to take the survey. So our last area of the system that we're going to look at is in field placements. So we go to the main menu, work, and then field placements. Again, here when we go to create a new placement, you'll see that if it's set to the candidates will apply for this placement and you're using an application form, you also now have the application limit area. Again, this is where you can put in 1, 2, 3, whatever number that you wish for that to be your application limit on this placement. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and flip back over to my PowerPoint here. This would conclude our webinar for these 3 last features that were kind of small, yet very powerful changes that I know many of our administrators have sent in as feature requests throughout the years. This is one of the great things about Chalk and Wire is that we take your suggestions seriously, and we're so grateful when we get to build things that are really answering your needs. So we will be posting the recorded version of this on webinar on our support documentation site later today. If you have any questions, go ahead and enter them now into the GoToWebinar control panel, and then I will do my best to go ahead and answer those. I had a question about the mathematics behind the reliability test being chi-square. The chi-square test is actually found in Results Live, well, now Reporting Analytics. So you can find that by going to Reporting and then Results Analytics. And then if you run a report by counts, let's see here. I don't know that we're going to have anything with enough data here. And you always want to select more than one date range when you're doing a chi-square analysis. Okay, so in this little rubric I chose, you'll now see the chi-square simulator and the chi-square test up here in results analytics. And then if you were to use the simulator, for instance, it wants you to select the areas that you want to compare, and then you can use it to calculate the chi-square. And it tells you that if your number, which ours did not, but if your number fell to the right of the 0.05 alpha level, that your data is considered statistically significant. So in this instance, this little data that I chose would not be considered statistically significant, or I should say the change in that data is not considered statistically significant. Now, in iterator reliability, what it's doing is it's comparing the difference between scores left by two different assessors. And so if I were to choose, let's see, I'm going to go back far, two different ranges. And I'm going to compare things that were assessed by two different assessors within that same time period. Let's see, where I choose 9. And because this wasn't set up formally, I want to see the informal. And then if I update this summary, you'll see here any rubric that had reassessments allocated and completed, then it shows you the mean, the standard deviation, the percent agreement, and then you can drill down into any of those as well. So then here it tells you this was the original score that was given. Here was the second score that was given, and the count of agreement on each of these different assessments that took place by these different assessors. So that's the goal with iterator reliability. In the formal reliability test, someone just asked about that. What you want to do there is you're actually setting it up and you're actually saying who's going to grade, and you're forcing the system to choose a submission that took place by a student or more than one student and send it out to this many specific assessors. And so then when those assessments are done, you get the same type of data that we just saw using the informal. The difference is that in informal, it's actually reducing your assessor bias. So your agreement is really stronger indication of reliability. If your assessors don't know and your students just randomly put in two people's names at the exact same time when they click submit, that will count in informal reliability versus setting up a formal reliability test, which you have allocated this to the assessors. They know that this is a reliability test, thus the bias increases. And the percentage of agreement for reliability, you can set that internally at your own institution and say what you believe you want that to be. I believe a lot of data that I've seen talks about like an 80% agreement or higher. Again, that's a hard number to come to, though, for a lot of a lot of different institutions, I believe. So if you're getting somewhere around there, that would be great. But some institutions have set their own internal rate at 70% or something like that. And so the important thing is that once you've set that and you've gone with that, you've set that you maintain that percentage. Great. Any other questions? Okay. Well, at this time, I will be ending the webinar. If you have any questions that arise after we've concluded today, please feel free to contact our support desk by emailing cwsupport@campuslabs.com. Use the request support option in your main menu, or call us directly at 1-866-949-6800, extension 1. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.